That'd be cool. 30 minutes.
It hasn't started counting down yet, which makes me worry. I think normally it says 5, 4, 3, 2, and then I know that 9 times out of 10 it's going to play the intro. Well, this time it's just circling. Let me pull up the.
Usually there'd be somebody in the chat going, "Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, we see you guys just hanging out." It's just broadcast is already live.
It says we're live.
There it is.
We're live.
I told you.
We're doing it live. We're doing it live, man.
I told you these things happen. I'm like, it's unpredictable with Melon when it connects to these services. Now, Melon, I like it. It makes a way for us to visit with folks and present content, all of this. But it goes to melons. And I do love.
He does love melons.
But it allows me to stream to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube simultaneously. That all works.
So does StreamYard. Yeah. Just saying. I'll send you the referral whenever you're ready. Just say it. I'll send it to you.
They weren't going to tell us they're live. They're just kind of secretly listening, like flies on the wall. What are they going to say? Yeah. They don't know that they're live. Maybe they'll tell us something juicy, something.
Baymax. This is what we call a cold open in the industry. Okay, sometimes we like to do that. Make it seem like it's like a little behind the scenes thing. Little cinema verite kind of thing going on. Santa's kind of a director, and he had this idea, and I was like, you know what? That's brilliant. It's never been done on YouTube. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, there's 51 days until Christmas. People are keeping track of these things. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, and if you haven't gotten your Christmas plans in order, it's never too early. But you're under 60 days now. 51 days, just 51 until Christmas.
And you're giving me some anxiety right now. I want to talk about Star Wars, and you're just making me like, oh man, how am I going to get $250 worth of Lego stuff for 2 kids right now?
Well, my oldest texted me this morning and said, just wanted to know, are you guys going to get me a PlayStation 5 for Christmas? Because I'm going to buy some stuff for it, and if you're going to get it for me, that'd be great. And I'm like, okay.
Adopt me. Will you adopt me? Can I be? You ever wanted a son? Because I want a PlayStation 2. Not a PlayStation 2, PlayStation 5. I know you say PlayStation 2 around the dad. You did the wrong thing.
I can hook you up with a PlayStation 2.
Here, son. Here's Jedi Power Battles. Enjoy.
It's like the iPad jokes that go around, right? Have you seen those?
No.
So you go to a pharmacy and you get a patch, right? And actually it says EYEPAD, iPad.
Oh, okay.
Right, and it's got a strap you can put it around. Here, I got you 12 iPads. Cost me $4. I don't know.
I would appreciate it if somebody ever did that. I would appreciate it.
Yeah,
that level of, I would forget the iPad over years, but I never forget the time I got an iPad. That iPad.
An EYE. You got to be really specific when you ask these things. Oh, it's great. Hey, we've got a lot of Star Wars news from this past week. And the first thing I was going to bring up is actually an article that you published. On Halloween. Let me bring it up just so folks can see. It is about you've made news. I've seen you quoted against on the Facebooks.
Oh, wow.
And I've seen you quoted on different places on this story that hey, we're getting Mando season 3 trailer on Christmas Day. It's a Christmas gift for everybody.
That is their plan. I do keep seeing Christopher Lloyd tweeting out going, something cool's happening, and I'm like, they moving that up? They're making me a little bit nervous there, but
let's talk about that a little bit because Christopher Lloyd has made some news. So there was this tweet. It says, "I can't say yet, but the future, and I think that's a key word. The future holds something very special for you. Stay tuned." Right?
Yeah.
And then the other says, "Great Scott, stay tuned." I think it has to do with Back to the Future. I think it's a Back to the Future reference that he's tweeting.
Yeah. I hope so. I love Back to the Future just about as much as I love Star Wars. It's up there for me. So either way, I'm happy.
Yeah, I think that could absolutely be it. Now, the question I have is with the way a lot of this stuff has gone, like they've got a new series coming out. You may have heard of it. It's Willow.
No, what's that about? Is that Will Smith's daughter has a TV show on Disney Plus?
It's probably going to be on Nat Geo about different kind of trees that
yeah.
Like Weeping Willow versus.
Oh no, Willow don't cry.
But they're taking. I know, Jason. They're taking a lot of things. The other was American Treasure. No, what is that with the treasure hunting?
Yeah,
that's going to be a series. And so a lot of these are turning into live action series, not movies.
Okay.
So my question is, would they make a Back to the Future series, and perhaps have Christopher Lloyd and maybe Michael J. Fox, make guest appearances, some sort of handoff.
But people have said before, they're like, because Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's, so they go like, well, like why wouldn't they take him to the future or fix it or something like that? And I'm like, this as a story idea, you could just have it where they did try to fix it at one point, but then it changed things so much he decided his life was better with it. It was like not it's better to have the disease, but the reality in which he has to have it is the reality that he loved and chose. Then you have this sort of like, oh well, that's sad, but beautiful at the same time. And then you could move on from there. But yeah, because I mean they used to always do those little stories with the Doc Brown kids when we were kids on the Back to the Future cartoon and all that stuff. Like
right,
there is
Rick and Morty, and we'll mention Rick and Morty again here in a minute, but. Rick and Morty is a bit of a spin on that as well, right?
Yeah.
So
like a grown-up version of it or a crude version. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's two different flavors.
It's not my flavor, right?
Yeah.
I everybody's like, oh, you need to watch Rick and Morty. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. And I watched a few episodes. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's not for you. I know. I wouldn't suggest it for you. I know it's not for you.
I appreciate that. That's so. I think
I got an Andor shirt, by the way. I got an Andor shirt.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah,
very nice. Very nice.
Well, girl. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think that Christopher Lloyd might be a Back to the Future, and it'll be some sort of announcement, movie, series, something, and it'll be cast with, Marty's kids. I don't know.
I love that his name is Doc Brown Lloyd. Like sometimes you see like Harrison Ford, and he's like, Han Solo's an idiot. I wish and you could tell like he's like, I love the money, but I could have done without Han Solo. He like that Christopher Lloyd's like Doc Brown Lloyd. I'm like, yeah, I love it too, Doc Brown. I love you, Doc Brown.
Yeah,
and I'm glad you're in Star Wars. That's so rad, isn't that? That's like so cool that Doc Brown is in Star Wars now, and he's not fantastic. He's a big deal.
It's fantastic. I'm excited about it, and we'll learn more about it with the Mando season 3 premiere, which is coming up February 22nd, right? Mm-hmm.
That's what the trailer said.
So that's we've got Christmas Day. We get the trailer, and then just under 2 months, just under 60 days later, we get the Mandalorian season 3 season, in which you can see Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah. The thing that I heard was that the trailer sort of has I don't want to say it's like a Christopher Lloyd trailer because I might be misspeaking if I say that, but it seems like the big like here it is, guys, thing of the trailer is Christopher Lloyd, and like sort of like his importance. He has this like horned helmet, I think, and I'm not sure, but he may be on the poster that's supposed to come around December 14th. That was like the target date for the poster was what I heard too, and this stuff is all, I've heard this is stuff I've been hearing things that have been reliable for years. So I would be, when I reported it, it's completely true unless they decide to change it for some reason. Whoa, I heard R2D2. What's going on?
Oh, well, Baymax caught me. I forgot the Star Wars Meg Cantina. And that's because it's programmed into the stream deck to start when the countdown happens.
Yeah,
but the countdown didn't happen. So
tell them the truth, though. I'm a dumb beast, and if the music doesn't play, I get angry and I start raging and stuff. And he puts this on, and it keeps me just very like, yeah, man, Doc Brown, cool.
It's good. Well, we'll get to rage later. There's time for rage later.
Rage against the machine. Santa's gonna get out the base.
The season 3 trailer. Now you said not necessarily a Doc Brown trailer, right? But he will be featured. But we'll see him.
Yeah. And then like the other like subtext of the trailer is that they're kind of putting it up like, like we're all supposed to think, is Bo-Katan gonna fight our Mando Grogu daddy? And that's sort of a ruse, is what I've been told. Like, don't fall into the implications.
What about the Mecha Grogu? Are we going to get a preview of Mecha Grogu?
I asked about that and didn't get an answer. And in my opinion, Mecha Grogu is back end of the show, maybe even towards the finale of the season. So I wouldn't expect that we get anything about Mecha Grogu, and probably they may, even though it got out, they may even just like save that postseason until we see it on a T-shirt or anything. For all I know,
really,
it's like the big deal. It's like the big.
Maybe it could be the post-season after credit scene, like into Mando season 2 with the Book of Boba Fett intro, right? Where
no, he's actually in the final battle. Grogu is a participant in the suit. So yeah, but I was thinking not to derail your show too much, but I was thinking the other day, I was like, actually it was yesterday, Mando season 2, like it's really kind of genius in its design, right? And that it opens up with like the movie with the dragon, like they're fighting the Great Dragon, and it's like a 1 hour like long kind of film, and then it ends with Luke Skywalker, and you just walk away going like, that season was great. And I'm not saying the season's not great, but you feel that the season was great because of that sandwich.
Yeah,
and I wonder how they're going to open this season. Are they going to open with something like, just to be lame? Are they going to open with digital Han Solo showing up? Like what's going to be like? Are they going to kind of invert the sandwich? Will they do one, or do they go, you know what? We can't do it again. We already did that. Do they just stay away from it? And because
we do have the other issue is that we saw the resolution of Paper Moon.
Yeah.
In the Book of Boba Fett. So it's a little disjointed because that Paper Moon ending should have been put with Mandalorian season 2 or as the intro to season 3, because now you've got this disconnect.
Yeah.
Where the ending happened outside of the context of the show called The Mandalorian. Even though we know like there's this Mandoverse, right? The Mandoverse includes the Book of Boba Fett, but it and so it fits within the Mandoverse there. But as far as the story itself, it's missing. So will season 3 start with a recap of the Paper Moon ending?
Right. Yeah, I kind of think it may have to. And then the other question, like a buddy of mine asks me every day, is Boba Fett in it? Is Boba Fett in it?
Oh yeah.
And the honest truth is, and I might don't want to speak for Bespin, but I don't think Bespin has heard if Boba Fett's in it either. I don't think anybody who I generally go like, oh, okay, if you say so. I don't think anybody has confirmed if Boba's in it. I'm kind of wondering if the numbers weren't out for Boba Fett season 1, if like sort of the response numbers and response wasn't out, and they just kind of couldn't touch it yet. It was unsettled, and then they had to like leave him out, and then so maybe Boba will come next in season 4, come back into the mix, or what?
There's so many.
Dominic, you punk.
You can always count on Dominic.
and for the record, Dominic, what is it? Are we doing Tuesdays and Fridays? Is that what when me and Meg?
Yes,
me and Meg, because me and Meg usually end up on the show at the same time and switching all around, and it's so we're just doing like either day,
right?
Both days. I'll do both days sometimes. Santa doesn't want me to, but I'm coming in. I'm showing up. I have the passwords. I just invite myself and I just turn up now. So
yeah, and that's the way. And the reverse is true. I can bash any of crash the party with him and
anytime
Rob any day.
Yeah.
All I have to do is decide I'm going to crash the show and just drop in, and there you have it.
And I'm sorry that I went on your Discord and posted all of those melons that one day. I'm just kidding. That was funny.
Bespin says the one he gets on the daily is Luke Skywalker in Ahsoka. I think yes, but quit asking every day. So now, and you know what you guys should do? This because Bespin invited this. You brought this on yourself, Bespin. You brought this up. What you should do is go out to Bespin's Ko-Fi page, right?
Yep.
Because you can really help Bespin out by going out to his Ko-Fi, buying him the coffee. And when you buy the coffee, you could ask him.
Yeah, and he'll tell
Luke
you.
Skywalker in Ahsoka, so at least he gets paid for it, right?
Yeah.
If he's going to get asked every day, he should at least get paid for it every day, right? So you just give him a coffee every day and ask him, is Ahsoka going to be in? There you go. That's how you do it.
Well, that was like my question: is Kumail Nanjiani playing a droid in Ahsoka? And he told me the answer. While he was like, I was like, now I know.
Yeah. So
Dominic, now you owe him a $1.
You do. You have to go out and buy him a coffee now. That's it. Will Mando 3 start with the Paper Moon ending to introduce it? The other question is the Boba Fett question, right? So there were some rumors that Jabba's palace would become sort of the meeting point for Mandalorians, all these different tribes that are coming together to do this reclamation of Mandalore and the siege of not answering that.
And once again, I don't know. So it's a speculation on my part, but what doesn't make sense about that is it would be strange. Like, hey, everyone, come use my crash pad. Used to be Jabba's, where we all just chill and jam out like Max Rebo now, and let's go plan this thing for Mandalore. But I'm gonna stay here because Fennec Shan, she's got a bad knee. Like that doesn't make sense because we didn't see Boba in any of that stuff. We didn't see Boba as a participant in the costume or any of that stuff in any of the end stuff. So unless he dies mid-season, but he must have his own. No, it's great. He must have his own like trajectory in the story or something. There has to be like some like parting of ways, and it may just start with him like kind of going like, I'm needed here, and then like them like doing the predator handshake and then like leaving, and then he just doesn't call back to Boba. And he did just kind of like leave Boba if he does go somewhere else. So maybe kind of weird to like go right back to Boba the next minute. It's like, you're your own man, then what, you need Boba Fett to do everything for you, but what's her name? Bo-Katan. What does Bo-Katan think of Boba Fett? Do we even know? Like, would Bo-Katan?
Well, I mean, they
invite
did
Boba
meet,
Fett?
right? There was
Yeah.
there was that meeting
Yeah.
in the barista, right? The coffee shop. They were all just kind of hanging out on the Wi-Fi, you know,
Yeah.
doing the thing, and then Boba Fett comes in and says, "I'm no Mandalorian," and then he gets his butt kicked by Casca Reeves, right? That's
Right. And then he gives her $60. He's all, thanks. See you next Wednesday. But it doesn't. Yeah. I mean, like he has that. Would Bo-Katan consider him a real Mandalorian because of a chain code?
Oh, well, good question.
Stuff like that. Like there might be reasons that he's not sort of invited to the fight. This guy.
Hey, Mike Porter's in the chat, and I forgot to do the Mike Porter dad joke yesterday. I still have it in the queue here. So this is yesterday's.
Did we get two today?
Yeah, we'll do a second
Mike
one
Porter sandwich?
if I remember at the end.
Okay, I won't forget.
How does the poultry farmer know that he has all his supplies? He uses a chick list.
It's got to be Star Wars, Mike Porter, or I
know.
don't understand it.
It's good to see you, Mike. Thanks for stopping in.
Mike.
Yeah, so it's just Mandalorian season 3. I'm super excited for, and I think that other folks are as well. And there's this other story.
A little Grogu being adorable.
Star Wars Newsnet put it in story form. I know it exists outside of them. They're not the source of it, but they're reporting it. Grogu and Dust Bunnies short reportedly coming. So this had to come from a Disney Plus Italy, right? It says came from Star Wars Leaks. That's part of Reddit, right? So
Star Wars Leaks is just Star Wars Newsnet. They're one and the same. No difference.
So it says they're Sabato 12 November, right? Like so the 12th of November. Star Wars Zen, Grogu and the Dust Bunnies, which they then put an example of the Star Wars Zen. This is a series, Star Wars Zen, and there's several. They're like advertisements, really. It's like a commercial, 30-second like commercial than it is like a show.
We know this for a fact. Like Zen is like a thing that they do, and it's like something. So what would it be like? Captain America's polishing his shield or something, and it's like
here it is. So there's
Zenimation.
this, right? This is an example of like a previous year.
Yeah,
and you can see what's going on. Like,
are those kids Jedi? They were jumping out of speeders on Coruscant. I think. You guys see that?
It's kind of got.
Is that the clone planet? Is that Kamino?
It's just this is, and it's got like Zen music playing behind, much like the Star Wars Hoth ambience that you're hearing right now.
What you're telling me is that the show, not the music, but the show is just stupid. So you're trying to say.
It's like the Galaxy of Sounds. It's
okay.
Just a Zen garden kind of thing.
It's a DVD extra is what it is.
Yeah, so this is Grogu and the Dust Bunnies. So maybe he sneezes because dust goes up his nose. Who knows?
So he's like cleaning the Razor Crest.
Right.
He's trying to get little dust bunnies on the Razor Crest or something.
Yeah,
and then it'll be animated.
Yes.
Well, when they're showing that stuff, like Peter Pan, was it in the style of the original Peter Pan film?
Yes.
So then does that not then mean that Grogu would be in his original format, which would be a puppet?
Good question.
Because if it's like a little live action short, that's a lot more interesting than seeing a Grogu cartoon. But once again, I've never seen any of these, and I've only seen that trailer. I didn't know what that was. I saw Star Wars Zen yesterday, and I was just like, oh, okay, or whatever it was called.
It's Zenimation.
Zenimation.
That's what it's called. Yeah. So like, here's one. This is. There we go. That was just a trailer for it. So I suppose you got to go on to Disney Plus to see it. and
Yeah.
I'll get zapped. But you get the idea. It's Zen should be highlighted in there in bold, right? Zen is what you should have in your mind more than Grogu, right? It's going to be a silly little thing. It's not going to continue the story arc in any way. You'll see him doing something fun, and there's going to be dust bunnies involved.
I see.
The end.
Yeah.
It's nothing to get super excited about, but
No, it sounds. Yeah, it definitely sounds like whoa, what's that? It's probably going to be more exciting than what it actually is. I hope I'm wrong though.
Yeah, and we'll save Bespin's articles till last because he's in the chat.
You know what?
We want to.
You know what? That guy, it's not very accurate. So I'm thinking maybe we just go back to Star Wars Newsnet.
We want to keep him. We want to keep him engaged in the chat, right?
Okay.
So what is it?
Yeah,
just,
roll call or we don't show it. We don't show your article unless you're here. Roll call. Bespin bulletin. Going once.
Yeah, going once. Go to. Wait, yeah. So there's this story from Parrot Analytics, and Meg reported on it this morning, and so it made me go out and look it up. And again, kudos to you, Jason.
Wait. Okay. All right, Bespin, I'm putting you on the mic.
Is this Jason Ward?
Yep, this is Jason Ward.
I'm calling to ask, is Boba Fett in The Mandalorian Season 3?
No! All right, sorry about that, guys.
Our very first live Bespin bulletin on the show. That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Bespin, for that. And remember, go to Bespin's Ko-Fi page and buy him a coffee and ask him if Ahsoka's going to be in. He'll be super happy to answer your questions if you buy him a coffee. He'll love it. Yeah. Reward the effective people in the community. That's what right. I say. That's right. And he's if he's going to get asked every day, he at least ought to get paid. I'm just saying.
Right. Unless it's to the Olive Garden, whether you're there, your family, and they have Star Wars Zen on that little TV screen on the side where you pay.
On the little right, exactly. So this is and again, kudos to you for pointing this out. Back when this story first broke, that Andor was getting no traction, and it was flatlined down at the bottom. You went out to the Parrot Analytics site. You looked at the detail. You reported on the data, and kind of raised awareness that initial graph had some issues.
Something wasn't making sense.
Which later then it was corrected. The author of it,
and it wasn't malicious. Said, it was just
I screwed up. My bad. I made a mistake, and I've deleted it. Here's the updated thing. Well,
as you should.
Parrot Analytics. He did a great job. Yeah. So he followed up with this. There's a new article. Again, Meg reported on it this morning, and it shows United States TV demand versus market average. And the reason I showed this part, because this doesn't have the Disney Plus in it. This is all shows, television or cable shows. And you'll see Game of Thrones, Stranger Things on Netflix, which is kind of odd, but all of these Nickelodeon, NBC, ABC, or AMC, HBO, right? These are shows. House of Dragons on here, and it explains why you don't see, say, House of Dragons on the chart that we're going to look at, because it's categorized differently, right?
And House of Dragons would be like this, and everything else would be this like little sliver that you couldn't really like. What? I can't even see the graph. It doesn't compute.
Right. Well, what's this say up here? Game of Thrones 106 times. And if we went down to House of Dragons 62.3 times.
Okay.
We'll talk about that just in a second. And in context of Stranger Things at 74 times at the top. And you go down into Disney Plus. The first one is She-Hulk at 36.3 times the average demand. And this is all proprietary stuff they have. They run it through their whatnot, and they come up with this, right? So, She-Hulk and this is for the week of October 15th to 21st. And you'll see Andor comes in just behind Cobra Kai at 34.1. And then Mandalorian. This is what I find interesting is we were talking about Mandalorian Season 3. Mandalorian's coming in right there at 34 times the average demand.
Yeah.
Remember, this is for the last week of October, or 15 to 21st. Not the last week, the next to last week of October. Mandalorian is right there with Andor on demand now. This isn't this is now.
And other things to take into account, Netflix has around, if not more than twice the base of Disney Plus itself. Disney will try to inflate its numbers by adding Hulu, ESPN, and that. But like, look at, we're bigger than Netflix. Okay, whatever, you're not. And then, but they're about, Netflix is like twice as big. So that means like the Stranger Things audience is going to get twice as much views as it would if it was on Disney Plus. You could kind of sort of estimate it around there. So the Cobra Kai thing, Cobra Kai is like, really not necessarily as healthy in certain ways as Andor is in this chart necessarily, in terms of just if people could watch it, would they? But at the same time, that Mandalorian number being that high might speak to the I want Star Wars, but my 8-year-old doesn't really watch Andor.
Right.
Can't really, my kids watch Andor, but we watch it in like 15-minute chunks. If they watch about 15 minutes of it, then they're like cool, but they can't do the full 45 minutes of the show because it just doesn't get to anything adorable or fun or whatever. So they're like, they just lose interest because of that.
Well, there's another statistic in here I want to read, and then we'll talk about Andor and Mandalorian again. As we go down through the actual article here, the Stranger Things remained at the top of streaming originals, despite seeing a 5% decline in demand. Well, it ended, right? That's the Netflix model. They throw out the whole thing. People binge it. It spikes way up at the top, and then it sloughs off, which is fine. And it may pick up again as you lead into another season, but we would expect it to continue to drop off.
And then the other thing is people binge something like Stranger Things, like you binge it and you're like, oh, I gotta get it all. I want to see it all. And then you do it. And then like a week goes by and you're like, I don't really remember what happened in the second episode now because I watched so much. Then you go watch it again. And that's like also a huge advantage to Netflix being like, here's just everything at once.
Yes,
exactly. I agree with it.
Exactly. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power rose to second place. So more, and it says it had a 10% boost in demand as a result of the season finale.
That's good.
People wait for it to end, then they just binge the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I still have to watch that. I watched the first two. It was kind of taxing, but I
enjoyed it. The finale to me was wonderful, but really I'm not a huge I'm not a huge Tolkien lore guy. I don't.
Yeah,
know.
It's no Willow. I'm with you, dude.
I just don't know. I just don't know the things that it's contradicting, and so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it. So for me, it's fine.
It's like shut up, nerds.
Right. But here we go. Disney's Andor had 34.1 times the average series demand. A 7% increase. This is what I liked. 7% increase, which saw it rise to sixth place. So it's increasing in demand, which is normal, as we saw with the Rings of Power as well, right? It increases as it's going.
We usually see like a show hit, and then people and it rises, and then people drop off because not everyone's going to like everything, and people quit things no matter what. You have a drop off, and then if you don't hit that increase after that, you have a show that's not working.
Right.
So this is actually a really good sign for the show. The 7% increase is actually really healthy. It means it's actually recovering its losses and growing.
It is, and it looks optimistic as the She-Hulk is ended. As we get further into the weeks, and this only goes up through again October 21st, right? As you go into the last couple of episodes, then we'll we'll see that picking up even more because word of mouth is picking up on Andor.
Do you
People
know
are
what
coming
episode?
to it.
What episode numbers those are? Like up to what episode we're at that point in the week? Do you remember?
October
I don't. You don't
21st.
have to figure it out if you don't. I don't want to, make it a difficult math problem.
Well,
for
let
you.
me see. Let's see. Right now, we're November 2nd was episode 9, right?
Okay.
The 26th would have been episode 8. The 19th would have been episode 7.
Okay. So we're up to episode
Episode
7 there. Okay.
The community live stream looks fuzzy. It looks crystal clear to me.
It looks fine on my end.
Yeah, it looks crystal clear to me. So, but what I find interesting as well is the next statement. Meanwhile, The Mandalorian also saw a 6% increase in demand for the show, which is well after, right? And it's leading.
Hi, Jason. I'm just calling to ask, is Boba Fett in The Mandalorian Season 3?
Yes. Yes. Yes, he is.
Now, what you need to do, like we have promoted Bespin's Ko-Fi. Buy him a coffee and ask him if Ahsoka's going to be in. Bespin, you should do the same for Jason.
Just give him $1 and keep asking him if Boba Fett's in it over and over again. Like really turn the mirror back on him.
Go to the
Trying to
Making
light his
Star Wars
eyes.
show. Go to the Making Star Wars show and just buy a super chat for $1 and ask him,
Yeah, pay me, and then I'll ask.
is
him
Boba
for
Fett
you.
going to be in? Right? So they ought to at least get paid. That's all I'm trying to say. So the Mandalorian also saw an increase. This is well after, right? And it could be a prelude to Mando 3, or people are buying the Disney Plus subscription. They're watching Mando. The kids got nothing else to watch. They're going to watch Mando, whatever else, right? So it's just, it shows a good sign of health for Mandalorian, which we know across the Star Wars fandom is a tremendously popular show. So
Well, the show Mandalorian has lower numbers than any of the other Star Wars shows, and people have used that over the last year or so to be like, look at how great these other Star Wars shows are, but they always forget how small Disney Plus was and how it was growing when those shows hit. When Mandalorian hits, the grift will then to be all of those shows are trash because look at how good Mandalorian is, but they won't be wrong.
well, and
Not
I think
that they're trash, but they won't be wrong in that Mandalorian's numbers are going to be colossal compared to Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi and stuff like that.
well, the next 3 weeks we get the finale of Andor.
Yeah.
It's building up nicely. Just to kind of touch base on Andor. I thought this would be a good bridge because we get Andor and Mandalorian here.
Right.
There's some stories about Andor coming out. And this last week we did have episode 9. The tinderbox is kindled. It is ready to ignite. Right. The uprising in the prison is white hot. It just needs a spark to kick it off, right? And we know it's getting closer. They've got Andy Serkis on board now, and it's about to go down.
Right.
I fully expect coming out of that's the episode 10 next week, and we'll talk about it on Tuesday more as we talk about preparation for the preview for episode 10. But I fully expect that fire to ignite in episode 10 before the 2-part finale.
Yeah.
So that's just where my mind is on it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've yet seen the clip where Saul Guerrero says it's war.
Oh. I think you're right.
So I'm expecting
So more Saw, huh? More
Saul. More Saul.
By the way, I need to reload my browser. You're locked up for me,
Okay.
but you're not locked up for everybody else. It's just Melon being stupid. So I'll be right
Okay.
back.
And so what Jason is saying is we will see Saul. No, I'm saying that. We'll see Saw again. I think episode 10. That's my guess. Baymax. They'll do a prison break when Olaf, the snowman's replacement, comes in. Olaf, not Olaf. Oh, very good, Baymax. But yeah, so we do have some articles on. Yeah, you got it, Nerd Mafia. Seesaw. We're going to seesaw. Right? Get it? He's back. He's back. So, hey, Dale Erdman. You see, Dale Erdman, this guy here, last week, 20 out of 20. 20 out of 20.
It's
Skywalker's Academy.
It's that race car driver name, Dale Erdman. Sounds like he's going, and he's just like racing by everybody, getting all of the answers right, predicting the show.
Hit 20 out of 20. That's
job.
Amazing. That is
that's you
Nerd
could have won the
Mafia.
lottery. Instead, you played these odds. And, well,
1.5 billion. Yeah. Instead, you got 20 out of 20.
So there's Dale. Dell's got a source. I know it. Dell's on the inside.
We have some stories here about Andor from our friend Bespin, who's been in the chat.
Those Fortnite skins, oh, they're so good.
Leaving
by the way,
Jason messages.
Want a really weird Star Wars thing?
Yeah,
that's a thing now. Under Leia's white dress, like you expect her to be like all like naked under there. Maybe no space underwear because there's no underwear in space.
Right.
He wears a black stormtrooper like body glove suit under that outfit.
Really?
That's how they like designed it in Fortnite. Because like when you do like emotes and stuff like that, like the dress will fly up. So when they do, so they have it like where she has like a black like body glove thing that goes into like the white boots. Nice. So she could literally take that dress off and have like a whole other costume under it, basically, if they ever want to. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm not a pervert. I don't know why anybody. I was just looking for. I was just doing stuff.
That thing happened. Yeah. So the Fortnite skins, but we're talking about Andor. Andy Serkis is going to lead the revolt. When we saw him come, now this was right before the episode 9 aired, and as Bespin was reporting it here, he had heard the story. I know he gets mad when I don't read his stories. He's like, but he said that, and he credited you as well.
Finally, this guy.
But it said that he doesn't like to run exclusives unless he's got more than one source, or somebody else drops his scoop before him because he's waited too long. Right?
Yeah,
that's what I understand.
That happens.
But given the accuracy regarding other moments in Andor, I'll reveal additional tidbit of information. According to my source, Kino Loy, right, plays a pivotal role in a prison escape. Scenes that can be spotted in Andor trailers. Loy, so far, seems to be happy keeping his feet on the ground and making sure prisoners do their jobs, as he doesn't have much time left on his sentence. But I'm told Loy is an absolute key in starting the prison escape and seems to lead his fellow prisoners. Well, we saw that transition happen in episode 9 because Cassian was trying to recruit him, saying, "Hey, this ain't gonna work," and he's like, "Shut up, go to sleep," and he turns off his light.
Turns over. Don't make me guilty of like sedition or whatever the charge will be because you brought it up. Don't talk.
Exactly. And at the end, Cassian, or he says 12. They're 12. He says, "What?" And he says, guards on each level. So we know that he's bought in after seeing Olaf die and hearing from the doctor that what happened is when a guy got released from Section 7 or whatever else, I don't know.
Right.
And they recycled him to Section 2 and started him over. And he's like, "Wait, what? You mean I'm getting to the end of working here, but then I'm going to get sent somewhere else? Okay, I'm out." Right?
Yeah.
So, So we saw that happen. I think it's going to happen next week, episode 10. And then 11, 12 will be, we heard there's a 2-part finale. It'll be the running and the fighting and
uprising, probably.
Yeah, and I think
that's my assumption anyway.
I think the assumption is we'll go back to Ferrex, and that we'll see his mom killed.
Yeah,
as a part of that.
Yeah,
Right?
Bestman
And
had a story a long time ago that I remember he was like, it might have been on his podcast, but he's like, yeah, today they filmed something like an important female character died, for the finale.
Yeah,
but
I think
who
Marva
it was, but it could be Marva, it could be Bix, but most likely Bix has said that she's coming back. That's why I don't buy into that other story that's going around at all.
Well, there's another one.
People don't go re-signing,
That Kino Loy, when he escapes, he gets injured, and then he gets put into a program where he is injected with midichlorians and DNA from the Emperor, and he becomes Snoke.
It's not my scoop to put out, especially at this late hour, but that does not happen. 100. I know where the story goes on, and for this stuff, that doesn't happen.
I think, Dominic, why don't you share the memes me and Meg made? I think you know why, Dominic. I think you know why I don't share those.
Do it.
No.
Do it. All right.
You have to join Discord. There you go. You want to see it? Join Discord. They heard people were working in a prison. So this is you.
Yeah.
I love this. Your pronoun is they. Jason Ward. They.
Mm-hmm.
They, them. Heard that people working in the prison scenes were running through hallways covered in water. Now, we've seen them running through hallways, but the hallways have been dry.
Yeah.
Or, walking through the hallways or whatnot.
Yeah, they filmed like a bunch of stuff with water, and one source thought that the water was part of the shocking mechanism. And but now we know that's not the case. So I think it's kind of obvious. I think Bestman probably explains it here.
It says something he believes will play a part of the escape. We know the prison's located in a large body of water, which I assume comes into play somehow.
Yeah.
But with the episode just 9 days away, we'll not have to wait much longer. So he says here, with episode 9 just days away, well, episode 9 happened. We didn't see people running through hallways in water. I would think that would be episode 10.
Yeah, but we did see Cassian cutting a pipe with a knife.
We did.
So,
we did.
Yeah, I mean, it's Star Wars technology, so it's not real, so it's kind of impossible to figure out, or to predict with 100%, accuracy. But yeah, I'm kind of wondering if there's not enough voltage going to that floor that if you flood it with water and you try to turn it on, it will still shock people. But I'm wondering if it lessens the ability of it,
or it might short itself and blow a fuse, and then everybody's good, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of curious if that's sort of like where it's going, but also love the there's a lot of subtlety to the series, and it's just a good example of how you can't please everyone all of the time. Kino's story is the reluctant good person in a bad situation, and he doesn't want to help because he needs to get out of prison, wants to do the right thing, finally sees the reality that they're in and can't look the other way, and then at the end says 12. And now we can assume he's going to help in the revolt, right? Which is what Bestman said was going to happen, and now I think we have every indication that this is true. Well, then juxtapose that to Kenobi. Roken. I can't help you. No? Okay, I can help you. I can't look the other way anymore. And then he helps them right away. Which do you like better? But people will have problems with that one, and people thought this one was too much. Well, it's either that or this, in that, generally speaking, in that kind of thing. I guess you could throw the Han Solo in the middle of it, but that's A New Hope, which is an amazing classic Hollywood movie that you could never make again if you tried. It was a once in a lifetime luck that it all came together right. So yeah, so on Disney Plus though, those are our options. We either have this really big subtle story, or we take it the other way. Sorry, I'm getting a transmission. Hold on. Okay, you're on.
Is Boba Fett in The Mandalorian season 3?
Yeah.
Buy Bespin a coffee so he'll quit calling Jason.
Or maybe he has too much coffee. That's why he's so excited today.
I'm very happy with Andor. I think it's great, and the storytelling has been wonderful. I'm super excited about this 3-part. I'm really calling it a 3-part finale because I think the prison break is going to lead directly into the 2-part finale, and it's going to seem like one continuous chase, run, battle, go. That's my expectation. That's my thought. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just where I am on it. Hey,
Megalorean's here
in the chat.
Megalorian.
The Megalorian. So yeah, I think that we're likely to see this stuff. The question too about the water: could there be a big facility malfunction that's causing it to sink and take on water?
Right.
Which would raise the stakes. Like, get out or you're going to drown in this tube.
Just like the dramatic tension of like water rising is like scary, and everybody knows, you know what I mean? It's like that's just a good little visual like motif, especially when they have limited sets and you're in that kind of thing. But it would be kind of cool if that shark from that one movie showed up that bit Samuel L. Jackson. I was kind of hoping that would happen in Star Wars, but that won't happen in the show. But that
was a big one that was on the Bad Batch when they were in the tunnels down underneath the water. That big
yeah, man, how'd that guy come up and bite Samuel L. Jackson? I love that.
So that's the first article here to dive into with Bespin. The second, Andor Season 2 Directors revealed.
Aren't they so weird? I mean, I love Tony. Me and Bespin were talking about this yesterday. We love Tony Gilroy. He's just pragmatic. He's not stupid. Why do we have to like jump through hoops to find out who's directing some of these seasons of these shows? Like, I just like that he just like says, yeah, it's just this. Like, man, like Ahsoka, we still don't even know who the directors are.
Right.
You know, and it's just like, we just want to know who they are, what to expect. We also like to go watch things that they've done.
Well, and then
not
speculate,
to make, like,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and just to like, you know, I mean, it's something to do when Star Wars isn't on, and it's it's so weird. But I love Tony Gilroy, just that he goes and says who they are.
This is great. Andor, The Way of Water.
The Way of Water.
Yeah, Rob will like that for the Avatar reference.
Yeah.
It was reported back in September. Ariel Kleinman has joined the director's list. Now Collider has exclusively revealed that joining Kleinman will be Janice Metz, who's best known for directing True Detective Season 1. I did watch Season 1. Season 2 was weird. I watched it too. And then Season 3 I was out. Like,
yeah, season 1 is good. After that, it doesn't really go back to the magic of the first season in any way.
Yeah, I agree. And more recently directed Amazon's Prime, All the Old Knives, starring Christopher Pine.
Meg, so I know. I Han Solo'd you. Go on.
Meg, you missed our pre-show call. It would have been great to have you there. But then following that comes also joining Kleinman and Metz is Alonso Ruiz Palacios. I don't know.
Ruiz
I can't say
Palacios.
Okay.
Palacios. Yeah, it's like a name that for my dumb eyes I wish had a hyphen almost, but it's not the name, so they shouldn't do that. But it's like Ruiz Palacios, maybe Ruiz Palacios.
That's a really good job.
I think that's what it is.
Nice job, Jason. Directed episodes of the Outer Range on Amazon Prime, which I have not seen, and
I haven't seen it either.
episodes of Narcos Mexico. Haven't
Saw
seen that
that.
either.
Narcos is good. Yeah, so
Is it?
that's actually really, yeah, very good. And Diego's in that. So you both actually Mandalorian's in it too. They both been in Narcos. So
Yeah, that's
kind of good.
yeah, Diego Luna. Right? Yeah. So there you go. Gilroy also revealed that Kleinman will be handling 6 episodes of season 2. That's half, right? And then that would leave 3 each for the others.
Wow, Kleiman's doing 6. That's cool. That's definitely interesting. That's a lot.
Andor season 2 begins filming in UK later this month, with production running up to August. That's a long run for filming and production.
Yeah, this one has
9 months.
This one has Mando does bang Bix and Narcos. You're right, Bestman. It's true. He sent it to me. Anyways, I didn't know it was Bix yet. But anyways, the 6 episode thing. I'm kind of curious if that came about because at one point Gilroy said he was considering directing an arc, and then he was like, you know what, it's just not possible. And I'm wondering if then he passed it over, and that was like the solution to that problem. And then they also tend to film like the little mini movies all at once, and then take a break. And then so that's like during COVID, that was like how they did it. I think out of safety, but I think it sort of I don't know for certain, but I think it was out of safety. And then they but I think it was good. I think it like allowed them to recharge their batteries and sort of know what they were working with instead of having like a bunch of footage that they have to go through and figure out. They were able to kind of like go and sort of put it together as they were making it. And I think that's what's helping the show be so solid, because like nothing is ever forgotten in the show. Like people like Star Wars stuff will just like kind of contradict itself in terms of like, 2 hours ago you went through this and like now you just don't care. It has no play. But this show, whatever happened previous episode, will not be forgotten. If it should have an effect, it does.
We blew up your home world, your parents, everybody you ever known, your home, everything. It's gone. Yeah. 10 minutes later, we're doing something else.
Well, hey, I got new friends.
New friends. So that's the second article from Bespin. The third article here, it was just made big waves yesterday. Dafne Keen cast in Star Wars: The Acolyte. This article. Oh, didn't mean to click there.
She's a little baby Wolverine, in case people don't.
Yeah, I see that. She was in Wolverine. Just to go again, Bespin gets grumpy when I don't read his articles. He's like,
he does.
Yeah, I know. He complains on your show. He's like, that Santa guy. Jeez. It says, it was only last week Jeff Snyder revealed Lindelof's untitled Star Wars film, December 2025 release. So,
have you been following the Jeff Snyder thing at all?
No.
So he's this guy who's like kind of like in the Hollywood mix, as like working like with the trades and stuff, and then is like doing like freelance stuff. And then Disney started doing the thing where they wouldn't invite him to things, or they would not do what kind of like the deal is. And then as time goes on, he gets a scoop and he brings it to them, and they deny it, but it's true. They lied to him. And so then he goes in. So then Snyder just starts going, you know what? Here's what I know. Starts drop. Now he's just, when he gets something, he's just dropping it. So it's like it's and like he's a real player. Not unlike myself. He's a real player. But it's like the same thing that happened with me that guy's doing. But that guy is like in the at the trade level. Oh, so it's fun. It's fun. Oh. I'm like, get him, Snyder. Get him. Yeah. Come on, Snyder. Let's do this.
Okay. All right. I got you.
So I love when Snyder drops something. I'm like, yeah, this is it.
Okay. So the 2025 is going to be Lindelof's movie, not Taika Waititi's movie. And you kind of made that deduction as well.
I think, but that's only if when Taika turns it in December, it's rejected. If it's not done, if it's not ready, Snyder might know, like, yeah, Taika hasn't even started it. Like, it may be something like that, like that he knows that we don't know. But my sources say at Lucasfilm, we are still waiting for Taika's stuff to come in. Then we'll decide what's happening then. If Taika's film is rejected, then we go over to the Lindelof.
Okay, so
project.
it's either or at this point, one or the other.
That's
one
that's
kind of
my
crosses.
That's my understanding of it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Either or, and I think Snyder thinks it's Taika's movie isn't going to happen. I think I think he has. It might just be pessimism, or it might be an inside track. I don't know. I don't know him, so I never asked him. But
yeah, and so that's what the community is saying. It's a thing that maybe it's not being made, but so we'll see. But keep going through here. It says Snyder revealed Dafne Keen, who's best known for appearing in Logan and in his Dark Materials. Now, I watched his Dark Materials. It was just okay. It was kind of slow. It didn't
Well, that's all Daphne's fault. So Star Wars is broken. No, but I'm just saying Star Wars is broken now. Who cares?
Oh yeah.
Daphne's gonna bring in all her baggage with it. Oh, I'm Logan. I'm the X-Men.
Once a director does a bad movie, they can never make another good one.
yeah. No, but same. I put on his Dark Materials, and I just couldn't connect with anything about. I don't know. Something was off. I just couldn't connect, and I just dropped out.
I watched the whole thing, and I was just like, yeah, wow. That show was not fun to watch. It just didn't. For me. It didn't really land with me. But it said I heard a little casting nugget be Acolyte, and this is where the actual quote from the Hot Mic show. And then it says Keen joins a talented cast led by Amanda.
But that above is the actual important part, because that important. But I heard a little casting nugget. This will be for Acolyte, this series. The Acolyte, Dafne Keen, who played X-23 in Logan, is going to be joining the Acolyte. I don't have any official confirmation on that, but I expect that it'll be in a couple of weeks, maybe. But that's the important thing, because people just go, she's in it now. It's like a thing, and then it turns into something else. That's all that he said. That's all there is. Yeah.
I think that's what Beth's been saying here, right? Comes into play next week.
No, he's talking about something that was said in Andor. Comes in.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, because things that were said 2 episodes ago play into the next stuff. Yeah. So
and Bespin exclusively reported last week that Acolyte started filming at the Shinfield Studios, Berkshire, and production on the series scheduled to run until May. And there you go.
And also, if you ever go out there and you smell a little something that smells like asparagus, it was Meg peeing out there. Didn't Meg pee?
It was Meg. Yeah, she did. She told us. She revealed that on one of our streams. She took a piss out there. That's what she said.
Yeah,
it's like we didn't ask, but okay.
The amazing thing is like she doesn't even cop a squat. She just like kind of runs and goes like all through the film.
Well, Meg. Well, thank you for that tidbit of information. We didn't know. I don't know that we.
Yeah. Skolden. He says it's Skolden. He says Skolden is coming. Skolden. Yeah. I wonder what Skolden's gonna want. Skolden's not gonna just give you $400,000 for nothing. Skolden.
No, not for.
Skolden's got bills too.
Gonna want something.
Yeah.
Want something for the money. Then, lastly, I told you guys we had a little bit of rage. I think that was we had a little bit of rage story going on. So earlier today, Star Wars Theory released a video going on about this article. And this is an article that's a week old, right? It was pushing a week, not quite. But and they covered it in Nerd Theory. This is more of, if you wanted to think of it like an editorial piece, Andrew Gilman is giving his take on some of this. You can read, when you read it, it reads very much like an editorial.
Andrew, I may not agree with your opinion, but I'll fight to the death for your right to express it. Sorry.
Well, and people have been talking about this. So why is Lucasfilm so worried about Star Wars' next movie? And that they're afraid of disappointing fans again, that we have a divide in the fandom created from the sequels, so on and so forth. We all know this. If you've been hanging around Star Wars, you know people are divided and people have different opinions. People are putting things out of context to fit their own narratives, and they're running whatever they want. Either side of the argument, there's people guilty of just running this
bunch of snowflakes.
Both ways.
You want a participation trophy for Star Wars now? Come on.
Yeah, it's terrible. What is going on in the fandom itself is terrible, and it's frustrating. I understand why Josh Lucas gets frustrated with reporting on Star Wars. It's because of you can't keep everybody.
Chat. It's because of the super chat.
Can't get everybody engaged because somebody's going to be mad.
Somebody
right?
won't super chat if you don't say the thing that they want to hear. Yeah. Exactly.
There's Matt Risman. If you haven't seen the photo, let me see if I can find it. I'll share the photo, Matt. Let's see if I can find it in the chat here. Matt created. Matt, did you create this or did somebody else and you're just sharing it to torment me? Here we go. I'll open this and put it over here.
I just like this picture of Bix. I'm just saying. I just like the picture of Bix. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I made this one from it. High ground coffee, and then the top says "New Express ho 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 coming soon."
I saw that.
I
saw that. This is. He says, "I did it. It's my best work." And what makes this one really good is my wife and I just celebrated our 36th anniversary. My wife's name's Kathy, and so replacing Kathy with Kathy adds to the specialness of this picture. It's great. But
spoiler: anyway. Santa's just Frank Marshall with a beard. In case you guys didn't know.
Oh my goodness! So yeah, this story just keeps. This is kind of recirculating some things, and it's a bunch of unsubstantiated, unverified information that comes from this dude. And just to be clear, this is all coming from what is the guy? It's Matthew Baloney, right? And he worked for one of the major trades. Matthew did, and he left and he started his own thing called Puck. And
I call it Puck it. Puck it all, man.
He reported that it's a culture of fear and indecision amongst the executives. Right, their new mantra, their internal mantra for new movies is getting it right.
That's not a new mantra. That's been the mantra the whole entire time. That was the mantra when they fired Gareth Edwards. That was the mantra when they fired the Lego guys. That was the mantra. It's nothing.
Well, I think go back to Solo, right?
They've always been setting their pants to shit. That's just the truth.
When they brought in Bryce's dad to direct Solo, I just like
Ronnie Howard.
Anytime I can bring up Bryce Dallas Howard, I got everybody like Bryce's dad. Like I'm known in many circles as Kayla's dad or Shay's dad. That's Shay's dad. But anyway, this is Bryce's dad directed Solo for the same reason, right? Because they were like, no, this isn't going to work. Get rid of him. Brought in Ron Howard. Ron redid Solo, and I thought he did a good job of it, right? Yeah. It's just so they had an attitude, and I think that there have been lessons learned. Let's not be wrong about that either. As they're going, the company's culture, the company's infrastructure, and all that's growing. And just my take on this. This is Santa's shill take on Lucasfilm.
Yeah, is sell out.
Before Disney bought Lucasfilm, George Lucas was the brainchild of the canon stories. Just his story. All the other stuff, he said, that's their stuff. I don't pay attention to it. It's not mine. I don't. It's whatever. So all the novels, the comics, the video games, he had very, very little to do with it. There's mixed reporting on that, but if you dig into it, you read, he had very little to do with it. That's been confirmed by Dave Filoni and others that, look, he just didn't pay attention to this other stuff. And his story was his story, and he told those the way he wanted to. And then he made changes to the original trilogy to fix it, according to him, the way he wanted it to be. So it was George Lucas. You take that creative head out, and you put what's in place to come up with canon. I mean,
they did creative head.
They did have the they did have the story group in place, but Leland was primarily watching over
pay for lunch once in a while, buddy. Sorry.
He was overseeing the not canon stuff and calling it canon tier B, tier C, tier.
There was like
whatever.
G canon, and then everything else was some other form of canon. Basically, if it was live action or if it was a book or a comic book, it kind of
right. And so Leland was over that, and you had the story group there. But you got to remember that the Star Wars, the canon in George's head were his 6 movies.
Yeah, George would take your money and didn't care that you liked some other story. That was just what it was.
Yeah, plus a little here, plus a little there, right? That was it. And he really wasn't. So, yeah, he turned over story treatments for the sequels. Jason and I, we covered this in an extensive multi-week. You can go back and find what happened to George Lucas's sequels. We have that. We dived into all the detail. We dove into all of it, the various versions of it, and what came of it. And that's a story that's water under the bridge as well. Through the sequels, they're learning. They're putting things in place. So you've heard Kathy lately say they want somebody to come in that's going to shepherd a whole story, not take one part and run. I think all that's fair to say, hey, the sequels felt disjointed to people. People love and hate parts of it, and many of you know I did a survey, and we talked about it yesterday. Where rank these movies 1 through 5, the 5 Disney era Star Wars movies. Rogue One has the most number 1 votes and the most number 5 votes. Right, it has the most number 1 and the most number 5. Second comes The Last Jedi. It has the second most number 1 votes, but it also has 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. Right, so it's just like it's a mix. So it's not as popular in general as Rogue One, but there are people who love The Last Jedi. There are people who hate The Last Jedi, and the fandom is fractured. And I do think that evidence shows they're learning. They've promoted Filoni. They've given him a more official title to represent, as Jason, you said yesterday, it represents what he was doing by title. But
I have to say, on a slow news day, I think maybe you, Megan, and we should get together. We should do an episode where we look at who does what at Lucasfilm from the official website and just kind of like go over it to like contextualize it, because I keep seeing stuff like Michelle Rejuan leaving was like Mike Pence stepping down as president under the Trump thing, like, or something weird like that. Like, that's not what that was. Do you know how many VPs there are at Lucasfilm?
Oh, look,
you know what I mean?
I work for JP Morgan Chase.
You know exactly. Yeah, but they don't. Most people don't.
Associate vice president or even vice president, those are given out like candy. Like, there's so many vice presidents in these big corporations. They're just tossed around, right?
Like you never hear, like I said, Momita Samgupta mentioned one time. She's the executive vice president of physical production. like and like you know what I mean. She's and the stuff that she's worked on from everything from South Park to Stranger Things.
Do I think they're working really hard to make sure what they produce is going to be popular, sell lots of tickets, and make them lots of money? Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. And I think they've always wanted to do that. And as we mentioned, and as Theory kind of went on about this morning, Disney bought Lucasfilm and said, "Hey, we want a movie."
Well, no, Disney didn't buy Lucasfilm. They bought Anakin. They bought Anakin. Sorry,
Jason, behave yourself.
Okay.
I thought we talked about this.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Be a good boy. Be a good boy.
That's funny. And again, we see this is where you can read in. This is there's some editorializing going on in here, right? It says many other creative choices baffled Star Wars fans, and Kennedy herself has come to dislike her decisions. And then he's got this quote: "From jettisoning most of the original writer Michael Arndt's ideas, essentially remaking A New Hope with The Force Awakens, to freaking out and bringing back director J.J. Abrams and the villainous Emperor for Rise of Skywalker after some fans complained about Johnson's mythological busting choices in Last Jedi."
This isn't true. The way that this is going just isn't true.
Choices that Kennedy had enthusiastically supported right up until she didn't. Now,
yeah, that is not how things happened at all. And in fact, Michael Arndt had an outline. Michael Arndt didn't jettison. Michael Arndt was taking George Lucas's ideas and trying to make sense of them, and he needed more time. So the one thing that is true is they needed more time if they wanted to try to work on any of that. But when they brought JJ in, JJ was never going to take. It was J.J. Abrams who was like, "No, we're going to do my thing. We got Kasdan here. We're just going to go write it our way. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to make my movie if I'm going to do Star Wars." He didn't remember. He turned it down. He didn't want to do their movie. So it wasn't like it was just like, let's just make it easy and remake A New Hope. They sent him out, and then they came back with A New Hope, though. That was the... But it was also that was by Iger's pressure more than it was by an internal Lucasfilm pressure. Iger was the one who said, remind people what they liked about Star Wars. That was what he tasked Abrams and Kasdan with doing, and that's what they did.
Yeah. And Dominic asked, the direct is pretty accurate. No, and yes, they are, and they are one of the major outlets where we get news. But that's why I said. Right at the start.
I don't have any problems with direct personally. I don't.
No, this article reads as an editorial. Yeah, and there's you take a major newspaper, major news outlet, and they report news. There's a story, a report, and the accuracy of that is double checked, and the veracity of it has to be spot on. Then there's editorials. That's where you take a writer who has strong opinions about something, and they write their opinion about something using the information from a story, and you'll typically end up with a one side and the other, both sides of the coin in separate editorial columns about the same topic in a paper. So the direct is, to me, when I read this, and I'll point out again why I see this as an editorial in just a moment, but I wanted to read this quote and tie it back to earlier discussion we had. Okay. It's almost like I planned this.
Whoa.
I know.
You're a puppet master. You're like a dream weaver.
It's amazing. So in here it says, Disney essentially has to reintroduce Star Wars fans while Star Wars is also constantly on television. It's a very tough task, or a very big hole she's dug for herself. Now that's a editorial piece, a big hole she dug for herself. That's commentary. That's not
sorry. Before, if I could just say one thing, the Puck news article is very insidery in terms of the industry stuff. Yeah. But the big mistake, the big flaw in that piece that they are using to build this, is it like literally starts off by saying like it's criminal that there's been no films made. when they were told not to do films. They were told to do Disney Plus. And then this idea that they're just, oh, well, yeah, green light this from this. Easy? That is just, that, whoever said that was high.
Well, and that's why I mean editorializing.
Yeah.
They're throwing
it's
their own
correct.
opinion in, right? The same here.
And in this instance, an uneducated opinion. And not all opinions are equal. And in this one, I got to say, oh, that's a bad opinion.
It says depending on your perspective, right there. A very big hole.
Depending on your perspective.
Right there. It's editorial.
Yeah, no, it is. It definitely is. But
let's talk about this a little bit, because we did mention earlier Mandalorian and the Paper Moon story arc ended in the middle of the Book of Boba Fett. And so, as you kind of mentioned before, like, how do you have to be introduced to a story? What kind of back information do you need? How much homework do you need to do to jump into a story and understand where we are in the story? What's going on? Who's this person? Who's that person? Why are they running? Right? There's a point where you have to like start from the beginning and watch to understand the story points.
The stories are also kind of dumb. So it's not like, I mean, it's not like Andor. You couldn't start watching Andor episode 9, but you could like pretty much watch Mandalorian from almost any episode and just be like, oh, I don't know why they're here. I don't know their backstory, but I know what they're doing.
So,
right?
Yeah,
right.
Right.
At the same time.
So
and that's,
it is a challenge. The point here is it is a challenge when you have a bunch of different series going on and you put part of a story inside of another story to reintroduce that in the other story.
yeah.
So get back to Mando season 3. I do think that this kind of thing, just keeping this in mind, right? You have to reintroduce what happened if somebody didn't catch the other thing that happened, right? If you, and I used the High Republic as an example. That phase 1, there were these Dringer, these big people-eating plant monsters. In the book, they were introduced and people were running from them, and then all of a sudden, in another book, they're gone.
Oh no, the plants.
What happened to them? Well, that was resolved in a comic series. So if you wanted to be able to follow that through, you had not only just read the books, you had to go and read the comics and be able to follow the storyline through and know what happened. It was just left out. Like, they're just gone. Okay, we won that one. Good job, guys. And it was weird. So I do think this is a challenge. When you have story arcs that happen over multiple seasons and multiple shows, you have to be careful about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think that moment in Mando was like sort of an experiment of how can we have these things intersect? Can people follow it? Will they stick on board? Does it work? Does it make if you loved Mando, Boba's now a must watch? There's all kinds of things going on there, and it's weird.
Yeah.
I want that kind of overlap. But I don't want it with one of the most important moments in the characters' lives. I mean, God.
Right. Here's more editorializing. The atrocious Rise of Skywalker. Well, that's your opinion. It's atrocious. Somebody else loves it.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And, so, in this case, atrocious. What's atrocious? According to who? Well, according to you, right? The atrocious Rise of Skywalker speaks on how it's possible to get nothing right. Again, whose opinion is that? This is an editorial piece. I just wanted to re-emphasize that because it's being reported on as a factual story, like you would get from a source like the Direct or from.
And the Last
Washington
Jedi
Post
wasn't rushed. Last Jedi was like right. That was the one that went according to plan.
And here's where Disney and Lucasfilm were dealt a bad hand with the mandated annual releases by Bob Iger. Well, there's some inaccuracy in that statement, but it's also true. Well, annual releases. Those movies didn't come out annually.
Well, that was they were like that's what they wanted. That was like the agenda, and then that's also Iger was the one who made it put Solo 2 in a year.
Well, okay.
Basically, but wanted to see what would happen, and nothing good happened.
Right. And Disney wanted immediate return on investment. Sequel trilogy made it as a means of printing money. That's generally true, but again, a bit of editorializing.
Everything in Disney is designed to print money. Nothing is designed at Disney out of the goodness of their hearts. For the most part, I can't think of anything, to be honest with you, where that is the case.
This also cracks me up. George Lucas made his Star Wars movies out of passion. Well, the first trilogy he did.
He didn't seem very, very passionate when he was making Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. He seemed pretty businessman by that point. I mean,
Well,
that's if you want to source things, that is what people say.
Well, and there were also stories about him saying there is no sequel trilogy. Oh, I'm working on a sequel trilogy. Oh, no, it's
Star Wars is
thing.
Forever. It's 12 parts. Investors keep giving money to Kenner.
Right. So it wasn't his over all out of passion. There was a financial motive there as well.
George Lucas wasn't playing jazz. Okay, he wasn't going to the clubs with his guitar and his harmonica. Okay, he was making movies. He was taking $30 million loans from Bank of America because he wanted to own the business outright, not because it was the means to the end of the passion. That was I love that story. Don't get me wrong, I'm all about it, but that's not passion. That's control.
Well, and I do think the story
Good
is
for him.
Obviously a bit of a passion play of his. He came up with the story with the monomyth, right? The whole thing. We know all of this. This is people. I'm just pushing back against. He made these movies out of passion. Well, yeah, passion was definitely part of it, but he did it for financial reasons as well.
Lucas would call it the creative impulse. Is what he would call it, though. He wouldn't call it passion. Just if we want to get all internal about it.
And here's more. Again, you get this is all editorializing. Yeah. Right. A lot of this is editorializing.
I mean, there's important things to remember, like Episode 9, the atrocious Episode 9. I mean, one of the main stars of the film died, and then they had a director who was not turning in anything up to snuff, and then had that on the plate on top of it. They just knew this is not going to work with this person. It wasn't just like, we don't know what to do. Let's just bring back the Palpatine. Okay. That is ultimately true, but that's not how we got there.
No,
and there is nothing at play in life that can that's changed that. Any new trilogy that comes, the star may die of a drug overdose. That just could happen, and the directors may not turn in good work, and they may have to fire more. Like it's movie making, baby. It's the way it goes.
Well,
acting like it's to be on rails, and it's not. That's not life. That's not how any of these movies are made, or any film.
Yeah, it's just interesting, the narrative that people build to support their own thoughts, right? And we're reading here an editorial piece that then people are running with to create.
That ending
content.
is cringy, and I'm a cringe lord. Dude, there is no try, Kennedy. It's like
This is an editorial.
Everybody's trying. Nobody wants to go on to the international entertainment stage and embarrass themselves with Star Wars.
No
one's eating donuts playing Nintendo, going like, hope it writes itself. Like that's everyone freaks out about this. Everybody tries really hard. The getting it right thing, though, that's always been the case.
I think so too. New. I think they always wanted to create something that people would enjoy. And The Last Jedi, when they were finished with that, they thought this was a movie people were going to love. They honestly thought the quote about Rian Johnson saying, "To me, a good movie is one that divides people." That was years and years and years before he shot The Last Jedi, and he wasn't shooting The Last Jedi to intentionally divide people. He was trying to tell a story that feels right. And you can watch the documentary of him making it. Did he have disagreements with Mark Hamill? Sure, but directors and actors have differences. It happens. And your opinion about the movie may flavor your reception of or interpretation of certain narratives and fuel it more, right? Yeah. So I just wanted to point out that this story is making a lot of news today because Theory reported on it. He kind of went hard on it, and it kind of got him agitated again, which is he has every right to be. Sure. Absolutely, anybody does, and that's his take on it. I just wanted to cover it because it is newsworthy. It is news of the week.
I stand with Theory. I'm quitting Star Wars until he returns. If he returns, though, I will too.
I guess, but Jedi Mike, but my biases are perfect. Absolutely, they are, Mike. That's why we enjoy having you around here. He keeps us straight. No, I kid. But I think they always wanted to make stuff that people liked, and they always wanted. Good job. Yeah. I just think that they always wanted to. That's always been their directive. That's always been their goal. It's something that this isn't news. This isn't new. And I do believe, as a company, Lucasfilm, they are learning on the job. They are getting better. They're learning from their mistakes. They're changing. They're adapting, and they're pushing forward with content that appears to be on the right track. And again, we did that survey, and just look at the reception of these Disney Plus titles. A lot of people want to say, well, that's Dave and John, and the stuff that they didn't do is trash. The stuff they do is good. And I said do. I heard it.
He wears a cowboy hat. Therefore, I know he makes the Star Wars that I like.
Yeah.
Even though he's out there with those California, San Francisco liberals all the time.
Yeah. So I just, it's worth noting, like, yes, they are learning on job. Should they have gotten it right from the first place? Should they have been hitting home runs all along? Have they lost some momentum, different things?
How do you get it right every time, all the time?
I think it all depends on your own opinion. It all depends on your perspective, and we all have different.
But I mean, we're talking about an editorial here, so it's like it is that. I mean, it is opinion. I totally agree with you, but it's just like people have been saying Return of the Jedi was bad. And then they said Defense and Menace was bad. Attack of the Clones was bad. Then they said Revenge of the Sith was bad. And then they said the Force Awakens was a rehash. And they said The Last Jedi. Oh, then they said Rogue One was boring until Darth Vader showed up. And then they said Last Jedi was woke, inclusive nonsense, not my Luke Skywalker. And then they said Episode 9 is junk. And then do most of these people even like Star Wars? That's my kind of like take. It's like when you've hated 99% of Star Wars, you don't like Star Wars. You like the idea of Star Wars.
Yeah, well, and maybe you're an original trilogy guy. I am. I was raised on them, and they're special to me. You know what? Those movies are still there unless you want to see the theatrical releases, and George Lucas won't let you. But other than that,
the internet's got you. The internet's got you on that one.
I know. I'm just making a point. But anyhow, we all have different things we enjoy. And you're right. Maybe if you don't like the Disney era Star Wars content, then just move on with your life. And that's what we talked about a little bit yesterday.
Watch the Snyder Cut. It's like 8 hours or something.
I have my own history and background doing boycotts and protesting things and going to different rallies. I have my own background in that. I just decided I want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy
like Rally's
things.
Burgers? Do you guys have rallies out there?
We do.
Rallies. Santa goes to rally. Yeah, that sucks. It's not very good. That's why I don't go to rallies anymore.
Meg, Santa protested fun and freedom. True. No, Jason nailed it in the pre-show. I was Alex P. Keaton, right? That's like, if you know who Alex P. Keaton is.
Can I tell him about Santa's dad? Can we talk about Santa?
Go ahead.
Santa's dad is one of us. Meg. Santa's dad agrees with us. So he is Michael J. Fox in Family Ties. He is like, where did this Republican son come from? I love it.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I was raised in Family Ties. That was my house.
Yeah.
And I was Alex P. Keaton. That's pretty much it.
You guys don't happen to have a Mallory over there, do you?
I just had brothers.
Mallory. I was in love with Mallory when I was a kid.
It's great. It's great. To just to address a thing that kind of blew up a little bit, and I don't want to go into this too much.
Sure.
It's just that there are grifters, as Jason's kind of alluding to. There are people in all of these fandoms. Star Wars is not unique. It's there within all of them, Marvel and DC, you name it, who are coming in with political, social, religious agendas.
Star Wars Newsnet's still in my fucking story again. God, fuck you guys. Fuck you, Star Wars Newsnet, you fucking pricks.
Now, that being said,
Sorry.
I support Star Wars Newsnet on Patreon, and I love their show.
I support
But
Star
anyway.
Wars Newsnet fucking sucking my balls, you fucking thieves.
Anyhow,
I fucking hate them. Guess what? Moff Gideon has armor, you guys. Whoa, good job, Star Wars Newsnet. Fucking last year's news. You fucking pricks. I'm sorry, Santa. I apologize. I get really mad when, yeah. So anyways, what were you saying?
I was saying there are people in these fandoms who aren't coming from within the fandom. They're coming from without, right?
Yeah.
They're coming from the outside in, and to grift onto the fandom and get their narrative pushed. And they're trying to address social, political, religious beliefs into whatever that is. And they're fighting against the things that contradict them from both sides. So if you are a progressive, leftist, commie, whatever, then you get offended when you're called that. If you are a conservative, fascist, neo-Nazi jerk, you get offended when they call you out on that. If that's what you are, that's what you are. Mm-hmm. If you are a Star Wars fan and you love it, you're not necessarily a fascist or a neo-Nazi bigot, whatever. If you are a Star Wars fan and you love it, you aren't necessarily a left-wing commie blue check mark. It's just not the thing,
Not for $20 or $8 a month.
But let's realize that these things exist. These things exist, and they're in our culture. They are in our culture, and it's okay to call that out when we see it, and it's also okay to be friends and disagree. It can happen. It can happen. Speaking of friends, it's somebody who loves all of it.
You're such a Monica.
Yeah.
Sorry. I've never even seen the show, to be honest with you.
Somebody who loves all of it is our friend Mike Porter. Right?
Mike Porter.
Meg, can I say blue check mark are liberals? No left that's insufferable, but we all branded the same. Oh, well, Meg is a blue check mark. No, I love Meg. Meg is a dear, dear friend of mine that I passionately adore. I can't say enough about her and what she means to me as a person. I absolutely love and adore her.
Little Mandalorian.
I really do. She's
little baby Yoda of a person.
She's
That's
a beautiful person.
That's what I call her. A little baby Yoda of a person.
She's a beautiful person that I love dearly. And you know what? I like Nikki as well. Nikki is my dear friend. I love her as well, and she's been there for me.
Nikki's my friend too. If she's my friend,
I can be friends with both, and that doesn't make me either. Right? Meg is Meg, Nikki's Nikki, and Brian is Brian, and it's fine. We can all be different. But Mike Porter, Mike the Stan, the shill, Mike Porter. No, his dad joke of the day. We did tell yesterday's, but today's. What do you call a story while you're riding shore to shore on a boat. It's a fairy tale. Oh, that's a good one. That one's perfect. Very good job, Mike.
Mike Porter is back, baby.
He is. We love Mike. He's wonderful. So, you guys, thanks for hanging out today. Jason, another dear friend of mine who, personally, on a very personal level.
Sorry about that.
Look, yeah, I created this little clip for Meg, really.
Yeah.
But Jason, today you've earned it. I've got to play it. I'm going to play it. Here you go. Jason on the naughty list today.
Whenever you play that, I'm going to be like, getting shocked, you know?
Thanks, Jason. And you're going to. I know you're under the weather a little bit. You've got a kiddo that's under the weather.
Got a kiddo home today.
I listened to your live stream from last night. Listened to it this morning. Are you going to live stream today, or you're going to take care of the kiddo?
We did it last night. So
very good. Like, and you hung out with me. I hope the kiddo is doing well.
Thank you.
And she gets.
Yeah, she's good. She just has the sniffles and all that. So they're like, you can't be here. She doesn't have COVID, but they're like, you still can't be here.
Right.
So.
Exactly. All right. Well, you guys, the melon didn't work today, so I can't do the outro though normally you do. So I'm going to end the stream from within YouTube and cut it off here. I hope you all have a wonderful day. A great weekend. Spend some time with those you love. Right. Spend some time with family. Be happy. And try, if you can, to just find some positivity in the world and make it better. If you can make the world a better place, then you're doing what you should be doing. And look here, Mike Porter, I want to play the Meghan Trainor Christmas album. One of the most underrated Christmas albums of all time. And my very favorite Christmas album right now is Meghan Trainor Christmas album. I listen to it all the time, multiple times a week. Absolutely love it. It's great.
I thought Meghan Trainor was Meg's girlfriend's name. See what that was a Mike Porter dad joke. Got you, Meg. I got you.
Thank you, Meg. I love you. I love you deeply. And I see Star Wars Fitz gave a $2 or €2 super chat. Thank you for that, Fitz. Appreciate that, good friend. I'll be talking to Fitz Monday. So look forward to talking to you. Hey guys, again, have a great weekend.
Yeah, be good.
Put some positivity into the world. Make the world a better place. And I hope to see you guys again very soon. All right. Take care, Jason. Thanks for hanging out with me. All right. We will see you guys soon. Until then, my friends, ho, 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 Merry Christmas. And may the force be with you always. Bye-bye.